guys, it's Jen. Just wanted to give our new volunteers a shout out and say, hey, welcome to Big City. I'm going to go over the open website and kind of help you figure out what we do in Big City and give some quick overviews of things. Well, I say quick. This will probably turn into a 15-minute video. Please bear with me and make it through to the end. Okay, so first things first, to get to our website and what we do, you're going to go visit open.church. Now, I have it bookmarked on mine straight to where I can open up to the elementary program through there. I highly recommend once you get into the elementary spot that you bookmark it to your computer. It's much easier to find. Now, you'll go to the website. There will be a link up in the upper right-hand corner, and it will say log in or sign up. Now, if you're a first-time user, you'll go to where it says sign up. For me, I would go into login. To sign up, you'll just click on the button. You'll enter your name, your email address, and a password. Don't worry about church name or area of ministry. That's not necessary to have. Of course, accept the terms of service and then create account. Switching back over to log in. Okay, once you have logged in, it's going to take you to the main open home page. Up in the upper left-hand corner in the top, there is a spot that says resources, ideas, and products. You're going to click on resources. And then on the left-hand side here, as you scroll down, there's where it says areas of ministry. Scroll over the word kids, and it'll pop a box off to the side. You're going to click on elementary. That's where our program is going to be. Now, this is the page. When it opens up to elementary, this is what I have bookmarked on my computer. So every time I open or go to open.church, it automatically pulls up the elementary page, so I don't have to go through that step. I recommend doing that. It's a lot easier. Okay, so a quick layout of what this is. If you scroll down, you'll see all of their past programs, I guess you could say. Each month is a different topic. So there we go. Each one of these boxes is a topic. You'll see we have Easter. That was what we did for Easter Day. Grace was the topic for March. Peer relationships was the topic for February, and so on and so forth. The main thing to know is that the topic for the month that we are in will be the very first box in the top column in the top left corner. This month in April, it is dealing with feeling. So you will click on dealing with feeling, or whatever your topic is for that month, whatever the future might be. You'll click on that, and it will open up to where you have the different parts for that month. Where it says part 1, part 2, part 3, replace the word part with week, and that's what you have. Each part is a week. So now, the main thing to know about this is that ultimately everything you'll need for Sunday, we will have prepared for you. It will be printed out. It will be available for you to use. We'll have the MC Tech guides. We'll have the small group guides. Those will be available for each of our leaders to have. And we'll have all of the activity and craft type stuff, as well as prizes at the end. So everything you'll need each Sunday will be available. I highly recommend that you log in once a week once before you're coming in to teach. Some of our volunteers we have in there each week. Some we have every other week. Some we have once a month. Whatever your volunteer schedule is, log in at least once before you're coming into the church so that you're familiar with what you're walking into, just so that it makes it easier on the kids so you're not fumbling around looking to find what your next step is. This gets you familiar with it and helps it be a lot smoother transition for the kids when we're in the program. So real quick, going to go over the MC Tech Guide. So you click on the box over to the side, and it drops down. I click at preview. This is how you'll pull it up and look at it. This is what we'll have printed out. Now, the thing to know about the MC Guide and the Small Group Leader Guide, it's one document for all month. So like the MC Tech Guide is 2 different pages, so there's an 8-page document total. Each 2 pages is a different week. So the first 2 pages is week 1, the second 2 pages is week 2, the next 2 pages are week 3, and so on and so forth. Now, the real quick way to go through this, it's actually very easy and very simple, so I'm really glad we have this for ease of volunteers, because it really will make things easier for all of our volunteers. The way to look at it here, is this gives you a quick rundown and kind of a way to know what to expect for each service and how it's going to be laid out. So right here we have the first box in the list is the Connect Small Group Welcome. This is where there will be a welcome question put up on the board. If we have a large enough group, just typically if we have more than about 15 to 20 kids, we'll split up into small groups during this time. If we only have 15 or less kids, I generally recommend keeping them in a small, large group setting, just because it's easier on the kids that way and you can really focus more and keep your energy together versus being spread off and having maybe a heavy dose of third and fourth or second and third graders and only maybe 2 or 3 fourth and fifth graders. So it's easier to keep the smaller numbers together and then split it off as the group gets bigger. So anyway, you'll go through the welcome question, which is going to be listed on both the board and it's in your small group leader guide. And then from there, it gives you about 5 minutes worth of time to do this small group welcome question. Most of the time, it doesn't take all of the 5 minutes. So whoever is running the tech at that point, whenever you get through with your kids, just give them kind of a nod or let them know that it's time to switch, and they can go ahead and click over instead of letting it automatically click over, and they'll switch you into the theme song. The kids know once they hear the theme song that it's time to start getting prepared for the service. They know what that means at this point. Then you move into the intro connection. Now on this part, you'll see most of these other pieces are purple, and then the pieces that are yellow, that's where the MC, whoever is going to be the MC for that week, those are the portions where the MC is actually speaking. So the intro connection, it's 30 seconds. You introduce yourself, you welcome our VIPs into Big City, you go over the monthly topic or, and then I think, monthly topic. Say we don't have a monthly point, we have a weekly point, but I guess we have a monthly topic because our monthly topic will be feelings. For April. And then you'll pitch directly into Nitro's rules. It's only 30 seconds. It sounds like it's not very long, but it's really longer than you think it is. So make sure that you're introducing yourself and you give the kids a heads up. And then you throw it over to Nitro. Nitro is the one who's going to be up on the screen. He's our robot. He talks to the kids through the screen. You'll stay on stage during that time, and you'll help encourage the kids to participate. And then as soon as the rules are done, it's about, I think it's like a minute and 30 seconds worth of rules. It jumps straight into the giving connection, which is going to be, if you look at the box, it's yellow, which means it's the MC's portion. So the MC is going to recap Nitro's rules really quickly. For me, I have found that it's best if I hold up my finger and I ask the kids to tell me what the rule was. It's not for me to tell them the rule. They know the rules. Ask them to tell you what they are. So get the kids to recap the rules for you, and then you're going to explain your dot stickers. We'll have a poster board at the front for you, or some kind of, I think we're working on a flip poster board is what my plan is, and you'll have dot stickers. Now your stickers will be, we're going to divide the room up into portions, like left side against the right side. And the way the dot stickers work is if you notice that the children are behaving correctly, if they're answering questions, if they're participating, if they remember a Bible verse from the week before, if they're encouraging their neighbor to pay attention, if they are, if you see them, a certain person giving tithes, because we're pushing them to give tithes. We're trying to encourage that aspect of giving as worship. And, if you see the kids that are just behaving appropriately for church, you want to encourage that behavior, so you're going to stick a sticker on each side of the board. Now, also our small group leaders, as we're doing large group, you can be watching and the kids in the large group session and paying attention to who's doing a good job and a good behavior. And if you see one who is maybe was missed by the MC, point them out, let the MC know to put a sticker on the board for that. And then you're going to pitch to offering. Again, the giving connection is really quickly, it's only 30 seconds, so this is not going to take that long for you. Pitch directly to the offering. It's going to go to the offering teaching video, which is another about 90-second video. And then we have our buckets up at the front, and you'll need to grab 2 volunteers who will be willing to go walk around with the buckets. Trust me, you're not going to have problems finding volunteers for the buckets. That is never an issue depending on some of the kids that are in the class. And then as soon as the offering is done, whoever has collected the buckets or has went and gathered the offering with the buckets can hand the buckets off to a small group leader. Just set them off to the side because Chuck or somebody from the team will come and get the offering from the group for each different gathering. So then as soon as the offering is done, you're going to jump to the point, and the point will be up on the screen for like week 1. The point was, when I'm mad, God helps me forgive. For week 2, the point was, when I feel bad, God gives me peace. Sorry. So each week is a different point, and that week's point will be up on the screen where you can go over it with the kids. You read it aloud to them and ask them to read it with you, and then ask them to read it to you. That's kind of the way I do it. Goes very quickly, they get it. And then it's going to jump straight from there to going into the Bible theater portion. Generally, those videos are about anywhere from 12 to 18 minutes, just depends on the week. You do not need to stay up on stage that whole time during that portion. Still be watching for behavior, still be watching to award stickers, but you do not need to be on the stage during that time. Just be kind of encouraging kids to pay attention. I want them to be comfortable. I want them to, watch the video and pay attention. But I also don't want them kicking off shoes or taking off articles of clothing and sprawling all over the floor and rolling around. We want them to be comfortable in the way they're sitting, but we don't want them to be like at home watching a movie comfortable, if that makes sense. So as soon as the Bible verse or Bible teaching is done, it's gonna pop up on the screen for the verse time, and that's another MC portion. So the MC will be on the stage, and you recap the show very quickly, one sentence basically. Practice the verse together, and then you're going to pitch over to the small group activity. Now, here's where it's going to get dicey, because since we are in the middle school gym for the time being, the small group activity is hit or miss, because we don't really know how much time we're going to have each week when we count how long it takes to walk back and forth, because it does take a good time to walk back and forth with all the kids and get them focused in and really keep them in line, without that sounding horrible. But it's a long walk for little bodies and little legs. So the small group activity time, if we don't get to it in the middle here, which some weeks we won't, either they can incorporate the activity really quickly into the discussion time, and it can be something they do while they're doing discussion, or if we just do not have time for it, send them home with the activity. It's perfectly fine for them to take it home, give them a brief overview of what the activity is, tell them why we have that activity, what it's meant for, but let them take them home, because we want them to have that in-hand piece, that tactile piece of church for them to have. So if you have time for small group activity, great. If you don't, then move straight into the worship connection, which if you've done the small group activity, you recap the activity really quickly, practice the point, and then it's going to go into the worship. And then there will be a worship teaching video, and whoever our worship leaders will be up on the stage, getting up to the stage, getting prepared to lead. And then you do your worship songs, and then as soon as the worship songs are done, you move into what they have a commercial. Again, if we're really pressed on time, we might be skipping commercial. All the commercial is basically pitching about the Connect and their website. So it's not essential to Big City and what we do. It's nice for them to see it, but it's not essential. So if we need to skip it, we'll skip it. ABCs, we won't skip this, because the ABCs is the premise of the message of salvation. It's the admit, believe, and I can't remember. Some weeks they do confess, and some weeks they do commit. So it just really depends, but on which person's reading it out on the video. But that is giving them the foundation for salvation basis, for our foundation for the salvation steps, I should say. So we want them to see that video, and then we do the last, after the ABC's video is done, is the very last portion for what the MC will do. You recap the ABCs, you give a little quick time about it, and then you encourage how to apply that into their life as far as what the ABCs might mean for them and what it is. We won't be doing let's put it this way, I don't think we will be doing an invitation every week. We don't want them to get tired of it, but and a lot of our kids are regulars, and so a lot of them have already done the salvation aspect of it. Some weeks you'll give an invitation, and I had like every single child raise their hand and just tell me they either were saved or they were waiting on baptism. So it's kind of up in the air. But some weeks you have a couple who don't know anything about that. So you just kind of go with it. In my opinion, I let it be something that is spirit led for me. If I feel like it's a great time and I feel God pushing me into offering not really an invitation, but giving an explanation about it. The way that I feel like is the best is I don't want them to do a repeat after me prayer, because I know Tim does that in big church, but we're working with kids. And they'll do, especially when you're in aspect of leadership with them, they'll do whatever you ask them to do. So they aren't always going to understand the difference in knowing what they're saying if you have them repeat after you. I want them to know what they just asked. I want them to know the choice that they made, and I want it to be a choice. I don't want it to be something they did because we told them they should say a prayer. So I want them to understand and be cognizant of what choice they're making when they make that choice. So, with that said, generally speaking, if we're going to give an invitation, I'd like there to be at least once a month, maybe once every other week. The MC for that week, when it's time, go over the ABCs, explain why we need to confess, what sin is, explain why we have, how, just the whole picture of it, why Jesus came to die for us, why we needed that, because everybody's born with sin, and all sin is the same. It's big, little, doesn't matter. Sin is sin. And that we need someone to take our place for that sin that we've done, even if we don't necessarily think that we've done sin. Everyone was born with sin. Everyone's thought a bad thought. Everyone's been angry when their parents shut off their Minecraft. Find real life applications that give them an example of what sin is in their life, and then tell them that Jesus died for that purpose, because that sin, even as little as it is enough to keep them from being with God for eternity. And God loved them enough that he sacrificed his son to come and die and take their place for that sin. So you're going to find something that will bring it in with them, and at the end, leave it up to them and say, if you have questions, if you feel like God is working in your heart, come talk to me, come talk to one of your small group leaders. You can find one of the adults that's wearing a Momentum shirt. You can talk to your parents. Find someone you're comfortable with and ask them the questions, and they can help you. And we'll have next step booklets. We have plenty of next step booklets in BigCity to hand out to kids who are curious about this and who are wanting to make that choice and that decision. So we won't be without resources for them. Anyway, after all of that portion is done, you're going to move into small group time. Now, small group is allotted 10 minutes, but generally it doesn't take all of our 10 minutes. In the small group leader guide, it's generally the discussion questions. You have about 4 or 5 to choose from, and you'll only pick 1 or 2. You go over the question, you talk with the kids. Now, and then as soon as the small group time is over, we move into checkout. We take the kids back to their to the parents section where they'll come and get the kids out. Now, the other thing to know about the MC Tech Guide is on the second page, which in church I'll have it printed front to back, so when you flip it over, is a sample script. So each little portion here on the front page that is yellow, there's 6 different portions of that. When it says that you need to recap or say things, on the back page has a sample script. Like it has a sample script for the intro connection, for the giving connection, all of that. So if you don't know what to say and you're just kind of winging it, flip it over and you can read the sample script and it'll tell you. So there's that. Back out of there and go over to the small group guide, the PDF, and do a preview. Now, we already discussed the welcome question. This is what your small group leader guide will look like. Again, you'll have the small group welcome portion, the small group activity, which gives you a little idea of what the activity should be. This is the part where if you're doing a small group leader for that week, I highly recommend and I really ask that you will log in once a week before you're coming in, or one time before you're coming in, to go over this real quick and get an idea of what you're doing so you know how to help lead the kids and it's not everybody learning at the same time kind of thing. So that part's very, very easy to look over. Now, the small group discussion portion, this is where I want to really discuss some parts for that. They have, here you see, I'm looking at week 4 right now and the feelings. But you'll see where it says choose a few review questions, and it lists a couple different ones. Now, you want to talk with them about that, and answers will vary. They won't always give you the answers you think you're going to get. It really just depends on the kids. So ask a couple of those different questions, get them thinking about what we went over this week, and have them really you want them to understand the concept. So a lot of that is the discussion part, helping them figure it out and understand it. Of course, you're going to do the Bible verse, the point, and then we get to the part where we have the action step. Now you can pick one if you don't want to go over both. You can only do one, or you could do both. The week 4 says, what is one way you'll praise God this week? That's a very quick little question. It doesn't take very long for them to answer that. You just go down the list and point at them and say, what are you going to do to praise God this week? What will you do to praise God this week? Just very quick, rapid fire. Question 2 is, what will you do this week when you see someone else who's glad? Again, answers will vary. Very quick, rapid fire. It doesn't take long at all. So the next portion you get to, this is the part that I want to nail home. The next portion is praying together. Now, it asks the kids to share things they would like you to pray about. I like to encourage kids to give prayer requests, but it's also a fine line of not wanting to be competition about prayer requests. Because we have a couple of kids in the group, you'll see, that when someone gives a prayer request, they think they have to give a prayer request as well. And it has to be as big or bigger than what the other person's prayer request was. So you have to kind of understand which different kids you're working with and what the deal is with that. So you can either write down I would actually like it if you would write down their prayer requests and who it was that did it, keep a sheet of paper with you and do that, and then you can hand it in to me, or you can keep it with you, or we'll make a picture copy of it or something, or you can take a note on your phone and email it to me, however it works, because we want to pray over these things for these kids. We really do. We want them to understand what they're walking into as far as the world, because this is it, guys. I mean, Big City, it's our last real step to grab them, because once they hit middle school, they're not in with us anymore. And yes, they can attend in youth group, but they aren't going to have a designated place to go on Sundays anymore. So even if their parents drag them to church, they're not getting that one-on-one pouring into them that they do when they're in a children's ministry. So I want to really nail home these aspects of our faith to them, and I want them to know that they can pray, that they can pray for each other, that they can have us pray for them. And that's a big part to me, is in letting the kids understand that they have that aspect to God, that they have that access to Him. They can come before Him on their own. They don't need someone else to be there for them, but that they have that if they want that. One of the things that I have done that really I think is a great thing, and I would encourage you to try and apply that to your group as well. Ask each child to pray for somebody else's prayer requests. Now, if each child doesn't give a prayer request, because not all of them will, just ask them to pray for the person to the left of them, or to the right of them, or sitting directly across from them, however you want to do it. Ask the child to pray for the person, one particular person, for that whole week. And then see what happens, because the story that I absolutely love to tell, and it gives me chill bumps every time I tell it, was back in December. I had a smaller group of 4th and 5th graders, and I had Cole Jolly and Gianna and a couple other kids. And Gianna and Cole were the only two who actually asked for prayer requests. And I was just really getting back into the swing of working with the kids and doing prayer. So instead of asking each child to pray for the person next to them, what I did was I ended up asking Cole to pray for Gianna and Gianna to pray for Cole for the week. I honestly, to be 100% honest, didn't think about it for the rest of the week. I didn't think, are they praying for each other? It wasn't something that was on my head. I assigned it to them. I prayed over the requests, and I continued to pray for them, and I prayed for all my kids throughout the week. But I didn't particularly remember asking them to pray and think about how that would affect them. The next Sunday, I'm in there, and Cole comes running up to me. Miss Jen, guess what? I'm like, what? And he's like, you remember how you asked me last week to pray for Gianna and pray for her friend and her grandmother, which was Gianna's prayer request that week. I said, yeah, I do remember that. I'm glad that you remember that. He's like, no, I didn't just remember. I prayed for them every single day. I sat down and prayed for her, and I prayed for her friend, and I prayed for her grandmother. And I wanted you to know that I remembered to pray for them. And to me, I still get chill bumps. It gave me this huge, like, I can't explain the feeling it gives you to know that that's a point that hit home. He understood how important it was to pray, and he knows that that prayer has an impact on somebody else. And I want these kids to understand that. That's a point that I really feel like is important for them. So we want to go over prayer requests and assign prayers to kids. Like, let them pray. Let them, if they don't want to pray in group, ask them to pray about it at home. And each week, you don't have to. We're not going to shame them if they don't do it. But ask them if you have a repeat person each week. Ask them, did you remember to pray for your partner last week? Did you have a good week? Did you have any prayers? Are there any prayer requests that got answered? And that way you can see, kind of let them develop their own sense of community, because we have, as adults in Momentum, we have community groups that we keep up with. We have people who pray for us. We share our prayer requests. We share our parts of our lives. They don't have that for the kids. That's what Big City is. Big City is the children's community group. I want the kids to have that sense of community, to know that they've got someone who's praying for them all week long. So, anyway, that's a portion of what I see for Big City that is very, very heavy on my heart for what they should do. Anyway, and then, of course, check out, which you don't really have to worry about, because at the time, right now, us being in the gym, our checkout is we walk the kids back across to the elementary school. So, and in small group, if you have a child who's doing really well, what you'll do is you can give them a dot sticker. I'll have stickers for all the small group leaders. Give them a sticker for each time they're behaving really well. At the end of the group, before we dismiss, whichever side has the most stickers on their board, ideally it's going to be both sides and it'll be a tie. But it's also going to be an accountability factor, where if someone has been misbehaving, if people weren't paying attention, that side is not going to get the prize. So at the end of group, before you walk and dismiss, whichever side has the most stickers gets the prize. It's not anything huge. It's going to be something small they get to pick out, and it's kind of just an award for having participated well in church. So, and the rest of it is the rest of the website part. If you want to scroll through and look, you can. You can click on the activity sheet and see the preview. Like here, I'm looking at the heart bandage sticker, and all it's going to show you is it's a whole page of Band-Aids to the heart and center. Those are the things that I will print off and have prepared each week. You don't have to worry about. Anyway, that is all of it. I really appreciate you having taken this time to watch this video. It went a little bit longer than I expected it to, but I do appreciate the amount of time you've invested. Thank you for coming to Big City. Thank you for wanting to invest in our children, and we really appreciate everything you guys do. I appreciate it. Amy appreciates it. And it's nice to have you. So welcome.